I never imagined that $25,000 could buy such a painful lesson about family loyalty. Standing in Denver International Airport, watching my son Marcus disappear through security without me, I realized that sometimes the people who know us best are also the ones who hurt us most deliberately. Dad, I have something to tell you. Marcus's voice had cut through the terminal noise like a blade. I stopped walking, my suitcase wheels clicking to a halt against the polished floor. The Colorado ski resort check-in counter stretched ahead of us, bustling with families excited about their mountain getaway. What kind of something? I asked, though the tone in his voice already made my chest tighten. He couldn't meet my eyes. Instead, he stared at the departure board, hands buried deep in his jacket pockets. I forgot to book your ticket. The words hung in the air like smoke. Around us, travelers hurried past with boarding passes clutched in their hands, their excited chatter about powder snow suddenly feeling like mockery. You forgot? My voice came out smaller than intended. Marcus, we've been planning this ski trip for 4 months. I know. He finally looked at me, but only briefly. Work has been insane, and with everything else going on ... I gave you $25,000. The number felt heavy on my tongue. For all of us. The whole family. Right, and we're grateful. Dad, really? Marcus glanced at his watch, then toward the security checkpoint. But the thing is, boarding starts in 30 minutes, and I was already moving toward the check-in counter, dragging my suitcase behind me. This was fixable. Had to be. Excuse me. I called to the agent behind the counter. Her uniform was navy blue, her smile professionally warm. I need to see what flights you have available to Aspen today. She began typing. Certainly, sir. Name on the reservation? Richard Hayes, but there seems to be an issue with my booking. More typing. A pause. Her smile faltered slightly. I'm not seeing any reservation under that name, sir. Are you sure it was booked with Mountain Air? My chest tightened. It has to be there. My family should already have their tickets. Let me try a broader search, she offered kindly. I do see a reservation for Marcus Hayes, party of 4, departing at 3:15. But there's no Richard Hayes on that booking. The terminal seemed to tilt slightly. That's impossible. I've checked twice, sir. Would you like me to see what's available on standby? Hope flickered. Yes, anything. I'm sorry, but we're completely booked today. There's a ski conference in Aspen. Marcus appeared at my elbow, his hand closing around my arm. Dad, we need to talk. I shook him off. Not now. We're figuring this out. No, we're not. His grip tightened, pulling me away from the counter. This isn't going to work. What do you mean it's not going to work? Dad, listen to me. Marcus's voice carried an edge I'd never heard before. The vacation is happening today, right now. My family is already through security, so we find another way to get me there. No. Word was flat. Final. We don't. The departure board flickered, updating flight times. The 3:15 Mountain Air flight now showed final boarding call in pulsing red letters. Marcus, you're scaring me. What's going on? He checked his watch again. What's going on is that you need to go home, Dad. We'll manage the vacation somehow. Manage? My voice cracked. I paid for everything, and we appreciate that. But right now, standing here arguing isn't helping anyone. Nothing made sense. 4 months of planning, $25,000, family dinners where we discussed ski runs, and now Marcus was acting like I was some kind of inconvenience. Just go home, he repeated, already backing toward security. We'll call you from the lodge. That's when I saw it in his eyes. Not panic about a forgotten ticket. Not guilt about a mistake. Relief. Marcus turned and walked toward the gate, leaving me standing beside my suitcase in the middle of the terminal, watching my son disappear into the crowd like he'd been planning this moment all along. I approached the same agent, who recognized me immediately. Sir, were you able to work things out? Actually, I need you to check something for me. My voice sounded steadier than I felt. That reservation under Marcus Hayes, when was it made? She hesitated. It shows here that it was booked 8 weeks ago. Party of 4. 2 adults, 2 children. 8 weeks ago. Not 4 months when we'd first discussed the vacation. 8 weeks ago when he'd already decided I wouldn't be included. And no changes were made to add additional passengers? No, sir. The reservation has remained unchanged since the initial booking. My legs felt weak. He knew, I said, more to myself than to her. All along he knew. My phone buzzed. A text from Marcus. Sorry, Dad, we'll call from the lodge. Take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. Like I was some burden he'd finally managed to shed. I picked up my suitcase handle and walked toward the exit. But I wasn't defeated. Not anymore. Every step away from that gate was a step toward clarity. They'd made a calculation about Richard Hayes. They decided I would quietly go home, maybe complain a little, but ultimately accept being discarded. They were about to learn how wrong they were. The taxi ride home gave me time to think. As we drove through the Colorado foothills, I started replaying conversations from the past few months. March, when I'd first mentioned wanting to do something special for the grandchildren. Marcus's immediate enthusiasm. Dad, that's a great idea. Leave everything to me. But now, looking back, I could see the signs. The way Marcus had insisted on handling all the bookings himself. Carol's suggestion that I might be more comfortable staying in a different lodge. Their comments about how older folks sometimes prefer different activities. They'd been conditioning me to expect separation all along. You know what the worst part is? I said to the driver, "What's that?" They thought I'd just take it. Roll over and play dead. You planning to prove them wrong? I watched the Rocky Mountains approach. I'm 71 years old. I worked 45 years as an aerospace engineer. I raised a son who apparently thinks I'm some kind of fool. But I didn't survive this long by letting people walk over me. As we exited toward my house in Boulder, something shifted inside me. The hurt was still there, sharp and fresh. But underneath it was something harder, something that had been building pressure like water behind a dam. They wanted to treat me like a doddering old man who could be discarded when convenient. They wanted to take my money and exclude me from my own grandchildren's vacation. Fine. But they were about to discover that this particular old man still had a few moves left. The house looked exactly as I'd left it 4 hours ago. Neat, quiet, ready for a week's absence. But I wasn't the same man who'd locked that front door with excitement and anticipation. I changed into comfortable clothes and made my way to my office. The vacation folder sat in the second drawer, labeled Colorado Ski Trip 2025 in my careful handwriting. I pulled it out and spread the contents across the desk's Surface. Bank transfer record. $25,000 moved to Marcus's account 8 weeks ago. Lodge confirmation. Mountain Vista Resort. Luxury suites, 6 guests, 7 nights. I counted the names. Marcus, Carol, Katie, Tommy. Carol's parents, Janet and Bob. My money had paid for Carol's parents to join the vacation. But not me. I picked up the phone and dialed Mountain Vista Resort. Reservations, this is Ashley. How may I help you? I need to cancel a reservation under the name Hayes. Let me pull that up for you. Hayes. Yes, I show a reservation for 6 guests, checking in tomorrow. Are you sure you want to cancel? I'm completely sure. A pause. I could hear her typing. Mr. Hayes, I have to inform you that canceling this close to arrival will result in significant penalties. The total cancellation fee would be $4,800. $4,800. Less than what I spend on car insurance each year. That's acceptable. Cancel it now, please. More typing. The cancellation is processed. You should receive confirmation within the hour. When someone arrives tomorrow expecting that reservation, what will you tell them? I would inform them that the reservation was canceled by the primary booking. Party at 7:23 p.m. Mountain Time on November 8th. Perfect. Marcus would know exactly when I'd taken action, and more importantly, he'd know it was deliberate. The next morning brought clarity like fresh mountain air. For the first time since we'd started planning this vacation, I'd slept deeply, dreamlessly. No anxiety about packing. No excitement about seeing Katie's face when she first saw real powder snow. Just peace. My cell phone sat charging on the kitchen counter. The screen showed missed calls, but I ignored them while I made coffee. Some conversations required proper preparation. Finally, I picked up the device. 43 missed calls, all from the same Colorado number. Starting at 11:30 p.m. Colorado time. Then every 10 minutes through the night until 6 a.m. Marcus had been awake all night. Between the calls were text messages. I scrolled through them, watching panic escalate in real time. Dad, call me back, urgent. Lodge says you canceled everything. Dad, this isn't funny. Call now, kids are crying. We have nowhere to go. The timestamps painted a clear picture. The family had arrived at Mountain Vista around 4 p.m. yesterday, just as I was hanging up with Ashley. They'd walked up to that beautiful resort desk, excited and tired from traveling, and discovered they had no rooms. I scrolled to Marcus's Colorado number and pressed call. He answered before the first ring finished. Dad, finally. What the hell is going on? The lodge says you canceled our entire reservation. His voice came through so loud, I had to hold the phone away from my ear. In the background, I could hear other voices. Carol saying something about complete disaster, one of the kids crying. Well, hello, Marcus. How's your vacation going? Don't play games with me. We have nowhere to stay. Do you understand what you've done? Actually, I understand perfectly. Tell me, when you planned to leave me at the airport yesterday, where exactly did you expect me to spend my vacation? A pause. The background voices quieted. Dad, that was completely different. This is about innocent kids. Where were the innocent kids when you deliberately excluded me after taking my $25,000? I reached for my notepad. Some conversations needed documentation. Help me understand the difference. Son, the difference is we're stuck in a foreign place with no money and kids who don't understand why their vacation got ruined. Interesting. Yesterday, you told me to just go home when I was stuck in a foreign airport. What changed? Dad, we can't afford another lodge. Everything's booked anyway. We put the entire trip on credit, expecting to pay it off with your money while I sat home like discarded furniture. Marcus's voice shifted, becoming harder. Fine, you want to play hardball? When I get back to Colorado, you're going to regret this. You think you can manipulate this family with money? I wrote that down word for word. Marcus, are you threatening me? I'm promising you that actions have consequences. Old man. Old man. I noted that too. You're absolutely right about consequences. For instance, the consequence of betraying someone's trust is that they stop trusting you. This is ridiculous. You're punishing children because you got your feelings hurt. I'm teaching adults that stealing $25,000 and abandoning family members has repercussions. Marcus, tried a different approach. Dad, look. Maybe we handled things badly yesterday, but right now we need to focus on fixing the situation. Can you call the lodge and— No. What do you mean no? I mean the word no, Marcus. It's what you should have heard yesterday when you suggested I just go home. This is insane. You're acting like some kind of vindictive. I hung up. I looked at my notepad. Threats, insults, financial admissions. Zero accountability. Some lessons couldn't be taught with words. That afternoon, I drove to downtown Boulder to visit David Morrison's law office. Inside, David's office occupied a corner suite with mountain views. Richard, come in. David stood to greet me, his handshake firm and reassuring. I settled into the leather chair across from his desk and spread out my documentation. Bank statements, receipts, threatening text messages, notes from yesterday's phone call. What's the situation? David asked. My son has shown me who he really is. I need legal protection from his greed. The story came out methodically. The planned family vacation, Marcus's deliberate exclusion at the airport, the lodge cancellation, 43 desperate phone calls, and finally those ugly threats. How long has this financial dependency been going on? 20 years minimum. I have documentation going back to his first mortgage. And the threats were specific? I slid the notepad across his desk. You're going to regret this, old man. Actions have consequences. David studied the notes. Richard, this sounds like attempted financial coercion. In Colorado, that's grounds for disinheritance with legal protection against challenges. I want him completely excluded, I said. Everything I've built goes to organizations that will actually use it for good. For the next hour, we discussed details. The Boulder Children's Education Foundation would receive the bulk of my estate. Engineering scholarships at the University of Colorado would get a substantial endowment. Local senior services, community development programs, veterans assistance. The documentation shows a clear pattern of financial exploitation, David said. Combined with the threatening language, we have solid grounds for disinheritance. How long will this take? I can have documents ready for signature by next week. Whatever it takes. David leaned back in his chair. Richard, this is permanent. Once executed, this will fundamentally change your family relationships. They changed first, I said. I'm just making it official. And you're certain about this? No second thoughts about the grandchildren? I thought about Katie and Tommy, their innocent faces during family dinners I'd funded. The children will be better served by scholarship programs than by inheriting money there. Father would control. The following week passed peacefully. Friday afternoon, my phone rang. David's office. Richard, the documents are ready. Can you come in Monday for the signing? Absolutely. Monday morning found me back in David's office. The conference room held additional people. His secretary and a paralegal sat at the polished table with notary, stamps and official forms. This is a formal will execution, David explained. Everything needs to be witnessed and notarized. The new will lay open before me. 25 pages of legal language that translated my resolve into permanent consequences. Let me read the key provisions aloud, David said. Richard Hayes, being of sound mind and clear judgment, hereby excludes his son, Marcus Hayes, from all inheritance due to demonstrated financial exploitation and threatening behavior. The words felt powerful. Final. My signature felt steady on the official documents. Each letter deliberate and final. The witnesses signed, ensuring no future court could question the validity of my decisions. The original will remain in our security vault, David said, handing me sealed copies. 2 weeks had passed since David sealed the final documents. Now standing beside him in the arrivals terminal at Denver International, I felt calm confidence. Flight 441 from Aspen has landed, David said quietly. They'll be coming through customs shortly. Passengers began trickling through the sliding doors. Then I saw them. Carol appeared first, chattering about something she'd seen on the plane. Behind them came Marcus, checking his phone with distracted air. Then Katie spotted me. Grandpa! She broke away from the group and ran toward me. Tommy followed, his face lighting up with genuine joy. Grandpa Rick, we missed you so much. I knelt down to hug them both, feeling their small arms wrap around my neck with uncomplicated love. For a moment, the weight of what was about to happen pressed against my chest, but then I looked up and saw Marcus's face. He'd stopped walking entirely, his vacation demeanor evaporating as he processed the unexpected welcoming committee. His eyes moved from me to David, taking in my lawyer's professional attire. Dad, Marcus's voice carried weariness. What are you doing here? Welcoming you home, I said, standing up. How was your vacation? David stepped forward. Mr. Marcus Hayes. Marcus's face went pale beneath his vacation tan. David extended the sealed manila envelope toward Marcus. Mr. Marcus Hayes, this is a copy of your father's revised last will and testament, executed on November 18th, 2025. Marcus's hands trembled as he accepted the envelope. He broke the seal with jerky movements and began scanning the contents. I watched his face transform as comprehension dawned. First confusion, then disbelief, then something approaching horror as he reached the crucial passages about disinheritance. "This can't be real," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. Carol leaned over his shoulder, reading the same devastating words. "Rick," she said, trying to maintain a reasonable tone, "surely we can work this out. Think about the children." "I did think about them," I replied calmly. "That's why I paid $25,000 for their Colorado vacation." Marcus's head snapped up. "You can't do this to us." "I'm your son." "Yes," I said. "The son who left me stranded at an airport and threatened me when I finally stood up for myself. This is impossible. You can't disinherit family. There are laws." David spoke with professional calm. "Actually, Mr. Hayes, Colorado probate law fully supports your father's right to distribute his estate as he sees fit. The documentation is legally ironclad. I'll contest it in court." Marcus's voice rose. "This won't stand." "Please do," I said. David has prepared for that possibility. Carol was scanning the legal documents. "The house, the investments, everything." "Everything," David confirmed. "The Boulder Children's Education Foundation and University of Colorado Engineering Scholarship Fund are now the primary beneficiaries." Marcus crumpled the papers, then immediately smoothed them out. "This is insane. You're throwing away your family over one stupid argument." "One stupid argument?" My voice remained level. "Marcus, you took $25,000 from me, excluded me from my own grandchildren's vacation, and threatened me when I objected. That's not an argument. That's betrayal." Katie tugged at my jacket. "Grandpa, why is Daddy yelling?" I looked down at her concerned face. "Sometimes grown-ups make mistakes that have big consequences," I told her gently. "We'll get lawyers," Marcus said desperately. "We'll prove you were manipulated." David handed Marcus a business card. "I'd be happy to provide documentation of your father's complete mental competency to any attorney you hire." "No," I said firmly. "This affects the people who betrayed my trust. Your children are innocent. That's why I've established scholarship funds that will help children like them for generations." David closed his portfolio. "Gentlemen, our business here is concluded." He turned toward the terminal exit, and I followed, leaving Marcus's family to process their new reality. The walk through Denver International's corridors felt different than it had 3 weeks ago. Then I'd been a confused, betrayed old man. Now I walked as someone who'd reclaimed his dignity through principled action. That went exactly as planned, David said as we reached his car. "Better," I replied. Marcus revealed his true character perfectly. The drive home took us through the Colorado foothills as evening settled over Boulder. I felt Sarah's presence approving of the day's work. "You know they'll try to contest it," David said. "Let them. Every lawyer they hire will tell them the same thing. The documentation is ironclad." After David left, I unlocked my front door and stepped into the quiet sanctuary of my home. In the kitchen, I prepared a simple dinner. No need to accommodate anyone else's preferences. My favorite chair beckoned from its position by the living room window. I settled into its familiar embrace, looking out at the garden Sarah had planted. The last few weeks had transformed me from victim to advocate, from someone who accepted mistreatment to someone who demanded justice. The charitable organizations would receive my call tomorrow. My money would fund ski lessons for children whose parents worked multiple jobs. It would pay for engineering textbooks for students who couldn't afford them. It would provide meals for seniors who'd been forgotten by their families. Real good in the world. Instead of funding more vacations I'd be excluded from. The sun set behind Boulder's foothills, painting my living room in shades of gold. Somewhere across the city, Marcus's family was probably still processing the magnitude of their changed circumstances. I finished my tea as darkness settled over the neighborhood. Tomorrow would bring its own challenges. But tonight, I sat in my own chair in my own house, surrounded by the quiet dignity of a man who'd reclaimed his self-respect. Justice served. Lessons learned, future secured. It was enough. It was perfect. It was finally completely mine. Where are you listening from tonight? What did this story teach you about standing up for yourself? What would you have done in Richard's place? Share your thoughts in the comments below.